Hello, and welcome to our 10th and final episode of Hungry Talks. For the last time, I'm your host, Alana.
I'm your other host, Bella, and first of all, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge the people of the Wurrung and Burrung language groups of the Eastern Kulin Nation on whose unceded lands we conduct the business of the university. RMIT respectfully acknowledges ancestors and elders past and present as the traditional custodians of the lands and waters across Australia.
Now, tonight we have a bit of a split episode. In the second half of the show, we'll be joined by some of the students from the incredible Pitch Night team to walk and talk us through Hop-In and what's going to happen on Pitch Night. But before we get into that, let's meet our final guest. Now, some of you might be familiar with who's joining us tonight. Third years have had the privilege of being bestowed just some of her wise words and inside knowledge, from how to have an interesting resume to curating an outstanding portfolio. She's been honing her craft as an expert networker, mentor, and thought leader in the creative industry for more than 20 years. Her work as the founder and expert consultant of the Brownbill Effect has seen her help many young creative minds form connections and get their foot in the door in industry. Without further ado, please welcome the incredible Sally Brownbill. Hi, Sally.
Hi, thank you guys for having me. I'm really excited to be here. It's lovely to see you.
We're excited to have you. Now, Sally, let's jump straight into it. We want to get to know you a little bit better. So how have you gotten to where you are now, and what does your career story look like?
I've gotten to where I am now by a lot of hard work, Alana, and a lot of networking and making things happen. And the career story started out at RMIT. I actually did a degree in photography, and I worked in photography for a while and then moved into film and television. And then I worked in advertising and design. And then I went back to RMIT and taught photography to advertising students and photography students. But all the while, what I was doing was building this massive network from all corners of the industry: design, advertising, marketing, photography, television, film. And so the career journey for me has been about building blocks. Where I am now was never where I thought that I was going to be when I graduated from photography. And I think that's what's been really exciting about my career. I've always taken up opportunities, and I've always followed my heart as much as my career dream. And I think that's a really important aspect to where I sit today, because I bounce out of bed every day loving what I do, most days. COVID's been challenging, but most days I bounce out of bed, and I have created this opportunity to have a business like that. But I don't think I could have done that without all of the building blocks along the way of working for other people and listening to creative directors and art directors and designers and photographers and what they want and what they need and how they can work together. So it's been a lot of listening and a lot of talking, a lot of networking, and as I said, a lot of hard work, but a lot of fun along the way.
Amazing. And speaking of, so you've got your own business, you offer a lot of services through your website. Could you tell us a bit about what inspired you to start the Brownbill Effect?
Sure. Well, I'd been working at RMIT, and I'd also been an agent for commercial photographers. And I had, as I said, I'd spent a lot of time prior to that working with designers and art directors in a recruitment agency. And it got to the point where everybody just started ringing me and going, "Hey, Sally, we need a writer, we need a designer. Hey, do you know where there's a studio we can shoot out of?" And all of these things started happening. And one day my husband said to me, "Do you think there might be business in this?" And that coincided with a graphic designer ringing me and said, "Hey, listen, I'll pay you money if you can find, you know me really well and you've worked with me for a long time, I'll pay you to find me someone to work with me." And so all of these things started coinciding, and I started talking to a lot of people in industry about what is it that you think you might want. And the great thing that they thought was that I am a creative helping creatives. I wasn't somebody that came from working in a marketing place or a PR place or somebody that just enjoyed the industry. I'd actually worked in it for a significantly long time, and they felt comfortable and confident with my knowledge. And so with all of that, I grabbed a graduate designer and a web builder that I knew, and we created the Brownbill Effect. And originally it was just a creative directory, and then it morphed into me running consultations, helping people find full-time jobs, having a very active freelance register, having an assistant register for young photographers and videographers and filmmakers, and consulting and designing portfolios and designing websites. But the core of what the Brownbill Effect is, it's making connections for people and with people and inspiring others. That's sort of my mission and my mantra, if you like.
That's fantastic. I think it's great that you were able to kind of pave your own career path. So yeah, now hate to talk about COVID, but obviously in the last few years, networking and connecting with others in person has taken a bit of a hit. What do you think this means for incoming graduates in terms of finding potential jobs?
Well, I think you guys are graduating at a really great time because the roadmap says that we'll be getting out of this within the next 4 weeks. So you will be coinciding with the time that we are getting out of it. People are bursting to get back to work. So I think once you've had a little bit of a break and a holiday because you've worked so hard for the last 3 years, it's going to be actually a really good time for you. Yes, COVID's been a pain in everyone's backside, but you know what? We are a creative industry and we have handled it really well. People have, learnt to work from home, learnt to work with each other, learnt to art direct photo shoots on Zoom, learnt to work with people in other states and getting them to do things where they can't do them in this state. And, the creativity's actually blossomed, I think, and it's made everybody become a lot more, thinking on their feet and on their toes. So you guys are walking into a really interesting time in industry. I think it's a positive time. I think we are ready for change, and I think the industry will start to go back, and it'll go back in bits and pieces, and there'll be maybe 2 days in and 2 days at home and 3 days in. And the creative industry is trying to work out how it's going to look. And I think the most important thing for you guys is to be flexible and to feel comfortable in your own skin with what your offer is, but also to be able to talk in an educated manner to potential employers about how you feel comfortable and how you understand what they've been through, and you've maybe watched friends, colleagues, parents, brothers, sisters, and how they've coped with it, and rather than going, no, I only want to be in-house or I only want to work from home, it's like, let's talk about it and work things out. So I think it's actually a really exciting time, Alana, for you guys to get out there. And networking is always the core to everything that we do and getting to meet people. So I think the basic rules apply, as they always have. It's about communication and it's about getting on with people and it's about getting noticed. And how is it that you get noticed? And just the very short time that I've had with all of you guys today, you are all proactive, friendly, great smiles, helpful, and well educated. And all of those things are what people need to see when you're getting out there.
That's really wonderful to hear, actually. Sally,
ways, Bella, would be flexible and be smart about it, okay?
Well, Sally, you are a legend and a powerhouse of the creative industry. Thank you so much for giving us just some insight into your incredible career. All right, students, as you know, Pitch Night is right around the corner, and I'm sure all of us are thinking, holy crap, how do I stand out against my peers? Well, don't stress. We're going to be picking Sally's mind and going to get the best tips on selling yourself on Pitch Night.
Okay, Sally, we're going to dive right in. Our first question is, how exactly do you sell yourself behind a screen?
Well, look, I think you've been doing it really well, Alana. I've had quite a few conversations with you. You look fabulous. You've got an interesting background. You've got a great smile. You're really cohesive. You do all of those things. Looking at the camera and engaging with people is what the communication industry is about. There's a number of people that I've interviewed who sort of, this is actually a really interesting one, because there was a lady the other day who had her screen up here. So she spent the whole interview talking to me like this. So I was looking up her nostrils and it wasn't very engaging. So it's about being engaging. You can use your hands and you can do all sorts of things. You have something interesting behind you. So selling yourself behind a screen is actually, I think, no different to being in person, but you have to do it in a more I guess probably more animated way, because in person you're shaking hands and you're sitting down and you've got the room around you and you can comment things. We've only got this screen. So it is sort of like, it's kind of like you on steroids, I think, but without sort of jumping out of the screen. So it's about being confident and positive, letting people have a pause. And if you are talking on top of each other, it's like, no, you go ahead. And reading the room, I know that sounds a really strange thing to say, but it is about reading the room, because often a Zoom meeting's like this when there's lots of different people on board. And so the best way to present yourself behind a screen is be well practiced and look good. It is like a job interview. So don't turn up in your hoodie and your tracky jacks, feel good about yourself. That's really important as well. And if you are going to be showing work, have that already on the screen, know how to share it, have it all beautifully presented, and run through it. Test with a friend, test with a family member, so that you know how it operates, because we're all doing, for me, example, I don't often do Teams. I'm more on Zoom, and Teams was a bit of a nightmare for me today. So it was all tested and we got it all sorted and it's working through. So the minute you start feeling unconfident about your hardware, then you can sense there's a bit of I'm not really sure what's going on. So that would be another way to sell yourself behind a screen, feel really confident with it, and practice what it is that you're doing, and know your story. Don't waffle. Like have your elevator pitch, and but also give enough room for them to butt in and have a laugh. Or so if somebody laughs or comments that it's something that you're talking about, go, I know, can you believe it? Have a bit of banter. And I think that's really nice as well. And it can be a little bit forced if you're trying to read things off a script. So just know your stuff and be natural. That's what we're looking for.
There's some really, really good pointers there, and I was taking notes. So guys at home, I hope you're taking notes too. So our next question is, we want to know, what kind of questions should we be asking to industry professionals on pitch night?
Okay, I think, because you know who the industry professionals are that you're going to be seeing. So I think it's super important that you do your research on who they are. And I think one of the things is mainly because you don't have a lot of time. So it's not a lot of time to do lots of questions and answers. It's really about selling yourself to them. And if you do get that opportunity to ask questions, I think one of them would be, after you've seen my portfolio, where do you think that I fit in the industry? That's not what you would ask in a job interview, but because this is pitch night and you're pitching yourself to these people, you're wanting to get their advice as well. And that's what this is all about. So where do you see that I fit? And sometimes it might be a real surprise. I actually don't see you fitting in an ad agency. I see you fitting more in a marketing department of a blah-de-da. So that would be a really good question. I think another good question would be, what do you think is lacking in my folio? Like, I've really enjoyed showing you what I do. Is there anything that you feel that I need more of or less of? So remember, these people are here to help you in your next step into getting jobs. It's not like it is a job interview, but it's not in a job interview in that sense. It is about them giving you feedback. But knowing the person that you're talking to, knowing what their agency does or what their company does is really important. And you might ask them about, actually, I saw something on your website that really inspired me to do this. Can I ask you, how that animation came about? So what it does is it shows them that you have had enough respect to know who they are. Because somebody might say to you, so Bella, do you know what we do for a living? And if you turn around and go, oh God, no, I don't really know what your agency does. Don't worry, a lot of people do it. And you go, yes, I particularly loved that campaign you did about blah-de-da. Okay, so those sorts of things are really important. It helps with the banter, it helps relax people. It's also part of the selling yourself with the question before, and you're commenting on their work, you're asking them. In a normal interview, I would not suggest you go, what do you think of my work? But this is slightly different. Okay, so don't get the two confused. This is about selling yourself and making you the best that you can be. So if they've got any feedback, and then you thank them and say, that is absolutely fantastic. Or you might go, I knew I should have done that, and I did have that and I changed it. And they'll go, okay, well, that's all part of the learning process.
Yeah, that's really great advice. I think we get a bit carried away that it's, like this super, strict interview kind of thing, but it's good to know that, we should be using that opportunity to learn from them as well.
And what you're doing now, Alana, I'm sorry, I'm just cutting in again, is you're bantering, like that was Bella's question, now you're adding, and that's exactly the sort of thing you do. And it is an interview, without question it is.
Yeah.
But if question time, they will really, people know that you are graduating and that you don't know everything, right? And if you are asked those sorts of questions, they love to give advice. They love to give advice on portfolios and where you might fit in the industry as well, So, but it's about warming them up with knowing who they are as well. That's really important.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely do your research. So now I think a lot of us are wondering, how should we be allocating our 10 minutes? Like, do we give our 1-minute elevator pitch and leave the rest to flow? Do we go in with a plan, or what do you think, Sally?
I think you've got to read the room. I think the minute you start over planning things is when you fall into trouble. You know your pitch, you know your work, you know how you're going to talk about it. You know that. You've practiced it for a very long time. And I think you go in, and if everybody's, it is different online than it is when you're sitting in there. But I think read the room when you get into your screen and have a chat, and they'll go, okay, Alana, tell us about yourself. And then you do your pitch, and then you'll go, right, what I'd like to do now is show you my work. Is everyone comfortable with that? Yep, absolutely. You're telling the story. Don't ask them what to do, because they want you to be really confident, So yes, have a bit of a plan. So the plan is do your pitch, but don't walk in straight away and go, hi, my name's Alana Wood and blah, blah, blah. And you go, hey, Sally, how are you? How's your day been? Have it be natural, right? Because remember, we're selling a personality as well. We're selling you. You're selling yourself. So you don't want to go in and just be that robot and go straight into it. So how are you? Great, fantastic, thanks. Well, look, I'd love to start having a chat about myself and letting you know who I am. And they go for it. Then you do your elevator pitch that you know and you're not reading. And then you finish it and go and say to them, well, now it's time that I'd really love to show my work. The one thing you don't want to do is be talking about yourself and showing your work at the same time. So you finish your pitch and then you announce. There might be a bit of banter about something, and they go, oh, wow, did you really ride camels in the desert or something? And you go, yes, it was fantastic. And I've actually got a project on that in my folio. I'm going to show you my folio now. Don't ask them. I'm going to show you my work. And then you take them through your work. Okay, so that's going to be really good. And leave a little bit of time at the end for those questions that you may have. One of the biggest things I've seen in previous pitch nights and various ones that I've done over the years is that you can talk, like I am now, a lot about one thing. So just rehearse how you talk about your work, and you don't want to waffle on too much. It's about getting the message across succinctly, but not too quickly that they don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so practice it, rehearse it, so it just becomes second nature. But there's that very fine line of being a robot. So you've really got to be really natural and friendly and be open to them kind of cutting you off in the middle of it, going, hang on a minute, can you just go back and explain that again? Or what's that image about? And where was your thinking behind that? How on earth did you get to a monkey on a toilet seat? And you go, wow, that was really funny. And then you might go off on a bit of a journey, and that's okay. And sometimes you might not get to finish your folio, which is a pain. So you try and do that funny thing first and keep on going. And that's when there might not be questions at the end, Bella. So don't worry if there's not, because they have got enough information about you and your personality and how you see things in the way that you've explained your portfolio.
Yeah, that's really, really good advice, and like kind of reading the flow of the whole kind of conversation and keeping it light and easy and just letting it take you where you're going. You mentioned, oh yeah, sorry, you go.
I was going to say at the same time, but remember, it's always an interview. So it is light and easy, but it's always still very professional, and you don't forget you, and there's no swearing and, cracking a beer open while you're chatting to them or anything like that. It is still always professional, even if they're drinking beers, which I'm sure they won't be, but you do have to remember it's always an interview, okay? No matter how relaxed and fun and sweary they are, you have to keep yourself nice.
Good. Yes, but yes, like you said, speaking on personality, what are employers kind of in the ad industry looking for in terms of that? You know, we're told the most important thing is showing who you are, but like, what if you and an interviewer just don't click?
Well, I think that's just as important for you to know that as it is for the interviewer. Okay. And you cannot click with everybody. It's just not possible. You want everybody to like you, or you want to like everybody, but that's not possible. So if you get in there and you're just thinking, I'm getting nothing from this guy or this girl, this is just not working, in a real life situation, you probably don't want to work for that company anyway, if that person's going to be your boss. But you just have to kind of grin and bear it and go through it. And you would have done that with teachers in high school, teachers at uni, friends that you've met through other friends that you've been forced to be friends with. And you just think, really? Do I really? And so you just got to work through it. And at the end of it, you go, wow, that was really hard work. What everybody talks about, regardless if you're a graduate or not, it's about cultural fit, right? So it is definitely about your work and what you can offer, but it is always about, are you a cultural fit with us? What should we want? Bubbly people. I get all the time clients from me going, you know who we are, Sal, we're a really close-knit team, you know what we like. We want somebody that's going to fit in with us. We want somebody that gets our mantra, or that we love having barbecues on Friday nights, or that we all do footy tipping, or whatever it might be. And so remember, whenever you're going for an interview, this is not about pitch night, this is in the future. It is about you interviewing them as well. Okay, and personality is really important. But for you too, don't forget that if you think the person's interviewing is a clown, well, you don't want to be there anyway. Or you kind of go, okay, Mr. Clown, would I be reporting directly to you? Is there other people? And they go, no, you wouldn't be. I'm just I'm in HR and I'm just sort of screening you. And then you think, great, let me meet the creative director or whoever it might be. And then you go, wow, these are great people. So it always is two ways, Bella. And I think that's what people forget. But personality is important. And you may meet somebody that you just clash with immediately, but you just have to grin and bear it. And then your mission becomes, I'm going to make this person like me. I do that often. I'm thinking, well, this person doesn't want to talk to me, but I'm going to be so nice that they're just going to have to be nice back.
Amazing.
Communication. You're moving into communication. That's what it's all about. It's whatever you can do to get your message across, okay?
Amazing. Yeah, some seriously incredible advice there, Sally. Thank you so much for sharing these tips and knowledge with us. I'm sure you've eased my mind quite a bit, and I'm sure you've eased the minds of many students tonight as well. Next up, we have a fun little game. So if you've been watching Hungry Talks for a while, you may be familiar with the famous hot wall. Well, we brought it back for another round, and this time it's all about what's hot or not in the Making Business Moves department. So let's bring on the hot wall.
So we're going to get Sally to give us her opinion on some situations and rank it on our very high-tech hot wall, ranking from hot to warm, not hot, warm, hot, and scorching, with scorching being absolutely amazing and not hot being just terrible. And this is depending on how reasonable these connecting graduates with a possible link to a job or organization. So the first move to rank is a cold LinkedIn connect, i.e. just adding someone out of the blue who we think would be a good into the company. So Sally, is this a good idea? Where would you rank this strategy from scorching hot to not hot?
I need to see all of them in the background because I can't see. So it's not one or the other. So I feel like it is. I feel like it's warm. Mm-hmm. Connect with them. It's hot. It's certainly not scorching hot. It's always really good to have an introduction, but yeah, I put it at warm.
Great. Okay. Bella's got the next one.
I do. So our next move is one we spoke about earlier, but attending in-person networking events. What's your verdict? Is this still a good way to find potential job opportunities or people there, like scorching hot? No.
Scorching.
All right, we're putting it at scorching.
I hoped you would say that.
Thank goodness. And why would this be scorching? sorry, Sally, why are we ranking this as scorching?
You cut out. Sorry, Alana.
Oh, am I cutting out? I just want to hear your opinion as to why it's ranked as scorching.
Oh, so there is this whole industry, as I said before, is about communicating and it's about networking. And you're networking with each other as well. Like Bella might end up in a job and they say to her, do you have any people, and I do this often, do you have anyone just like you? Because I loved getting you a job and there's another job. Who do you know? And you go, my goodness, I know Ashley was in the same class as me and she's great. So all of a sudden you can start networking with each other. And it's scorching because it is the human Facebook, right? You get to talk to people and it's about personality and they go, wow, Alana, she was such a nice girl. I reckon that she would she'd be great in that agency that they were talking to me about the other day. You should ring them. And then all of a sudden your phone calls are warm and not cold and you go, hi, Sally, my name's Alana. I met Fred and he said that. And I go, I love Fred, come in. And so then everything becomes warm. So that's why it's scorching. You can never network enough and talk to people and get to meet new people. That is what this whole industry is about. It takes you traveling all over the world, you know?
Yeah, totally agree. You can't beat that face-to-face. Now, the next one is double emailing when I get no response. Is it okay or do I look desperate?
Look, I think there's a time frame with double emailing. I don't think it's really cold. I don't think it's scorching. I think it's somewhere in the middle. Mm-hmm. So if you emailed, like there was a girl the other day that emailed me and then I had a whole lot of emailing issues and then she emailed me today and said, I'm not sure whether you got my email last week. And I went, oh my God, I totally forgot. So it depends on the tone of voice that you do with that second email. And it would be, if you wrote in the second email, Sally, I emailed you last week and I haven't heard back from you. Where the hell are you? Right? Not good. But if in the second email you said, hi, Sally, I emailed you about a week ago. I'm not sure whether you got it. I know you're probably really busy, but I'd still love to have a chat to you because you asked me to give you an email. Or would it be more convenient if I phoned you? So it depends on what the email is. I think double emailing is okay. Mm-hmm. I put it at warm. Warm to hot. Okay?
Let's put it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, in the middle. Double emailing is in between warm and hot.
You know, we get busy and things happen and we flag and we kind of go like, Alana's not important. This is more important. I'll get back to it. And then the whole world falls apart and we have an earthquake and everything goes crazy and we forget.
Fair enough. Yeah. See, Alana? I'm always worried.
I'm always worried about the double email.
All right.
So in the first email, it's the tone of voice, okay?
Yeah, gotcha.
And give them options as well. Would you prefer a phone call or I'd love to give them options?
Yeah, that's a really good point there. So our next one is one I think a lot of us youths are probably most terrified of, cold calling. You know, actually picking up the phone and ringing people just out of the blue. Are we missing opportunities because talking on the phone is scary?
Yeah, it is scary for you guys, and I force you to all do it. And cold calling is scary. Even I feel really, cold calling. It can be really soul destroying. That's why warm calls are always better. And a warm call is when you ring and ask someone because somebody else has told you to ring them. However, you are graduates. You are going into the communication industry, and it shows ballsiness, right? If somebody of your age picks up the phone and rings me and goes, hey, Sally, my name's Alana Wood. I heard you talk a few weeks ago. I'm like, hi, Alana, how are you? Look, it's fantastic. I instantly give you 50 points up the ladder because you've had the tenacity to phone me because I know people don't enjoy phoning. And a lot of roles that you're going to be going into are going to be client facing. You're going to be having to present briefs to your creative director. And we need to know that you feel really confident in your own skin and who you are. So cold calling is really tough, but if you can do it, I think it's okay. But again, it's like the emailing. It's got to be the right tone of voice. It's got to be the right person. And sometimes it might even be ringing the agency and saying, look, I've had a look at your website. I'm a recent graduate from advertising at RMIT. I noticed on the website that Fred Nurks is your creative director. Would he be the best person for me to talk to? Because I'd love to come in and show my folio. And she might say, or the person who picks up the phone might say, well, you could talk to me about it. you know, the senior art director, and we can have a chat about it, and I'd be happy to meet you. And so whoever picks up the phone these days, in the old days, there was always receptionist, and there's not these days in a few agencies. So whoever picks up the phone, have a chat to them and get them on your side, because if they're not the right person, they will help you get to the right person. But if you treat them badly and sort of go, oh, well, I just want to talk to Fred Nurks and who are you? They're going to go, do you know what? See you later. So cold calling is tough, but I think it's important. And the other thing why it's important, Isabella or Bella, is because many of you wait until jobs are being advertised. And I'm always saying those that ring up companies that you really want to work for, and you ring in before a job's advertised and say, look, I'm not sure whether you've got any jobs advertised. I haven't seen any on your website, but I love the work that you do. I've studied your website. I heard about you when I was at uni. I'd love an opportunity to just talk to somebody in there and show them my work. Is who would be that? But, you know, people just put you right up on a pedestal.
Yeah, that's a great bit of advice. So where should we rank it? Scorching. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's scorching. It's tough and it's hard, and it might take you 20 phone calls to speak to one person. But if you can, I think it really shows tenacity, you know.
Yeah.
But don't
Totally.
Double cold call, Alana. No double cold call.
Oh, there goes my plans. So this is an old faithful, but is it hot to do? Handing out resumes to agencies in person.
Look, I still think okay, that's a tricky one. I think that why not? Okay,
yeah.
Why not stand out, be a point of difference? I think out of your entire year level, there would probably be only 2 people that have the courage to do that. Do it in a fun way, maybe do it in a great package. Walk in, if you just walk in off the street, it's tough because we don't often have, there's not a lot of receptionists at the front desk these days, and I don't know how it's going to look, so that's going to be tougher to do that. But always have a resume on you, and if you're walking past an agency, why not, if you do know that somebody's in there? Look, I don't think there's any right or wrong in how to introduce yourself to people. It's about an individual approach. It's about what you feel comfortable with, and you know, unless there's nothing that's not really unacceptable. Somebody's not going to come out and go, how dare you come in and hand in your resume? And if they do, you're going to go, well, I don't want to work for you anyway. See you later. It's tougher to do it like that. But, you know, if you live in that area and, you know, you don't know who to talk to, why not walk in and have a chat and say, listen, I walk past here all the time. I've had a look at your website. I love your work. You know, I've recently graduated. I'd love an opportunity to talk to someone. So can you please pass my resume and to you know, the creative director, and if he'd like to or she'd like to have a chat to me, I'd love it.
Great. So where should we rank this?
I put it probably warm to hot.
Okay.
Yep.
In between warm and hot.
But if you're at a pub or if you're out networking somewhere, you don't walk around sort of going, here's my resume, here's my resume. It has to be fairly targeted.
Yep.
Okay. And you need to know the company, not just, I've just walked past and I'm going to pop in my resume. It needs to be, you know, I've heard about you guys. I can't believe I'm here. I'm in Cremorne and I'm out the front of your agency. You know, here's my resume. It's tougher. Okay. Don't do it at a pub. Weird.
Oh,
wow.
Our next one is, I was going around to bars in Cremorne and networking there, hot or not.
So I live there. I've lived in Richmond for 25 years, and you'll probably see me there. If you handed out a resume in a pub, that'd be hilarious. But going there is absolutely fine. Grab a group of people together and have a chat. You've got to know who you're looking for, though. And if you have handed in a resume to someone that lives that's in an agency over the road that you know goes to the cherry tree all the time, you could just kind of slide in there and go, oh, hi, I met you the other day. Chitter chatter. It's a bit 80s to do it at a pub, but look, again, whatever it takes, and as long as you feel comfortable in it, and you probably wouldn't go there on your own because that'd be creepy. You go there with a group of you or a group of friends and just acknowledge and, you know, I would like to think you could probably contact the individual via, social media or a phone call first, so that they actually know who you are when you're in the pub. They go, oh, hi, I remember you. You just graduated from RMIT. Like me, I might see Mai or Ashley, and not that I've had anything to do with them because I never forget a face. I might be somewhere and go, weren't you at Hungry Talks? Oh, what are you doing now? And then off you go.
Yeah. So always easier when there's that base level of,
easier, and don't be creepy about things. Be individual, natural, and be clever, but not creepy.
Totally agree. So where are we ranking this, Sally?
Oh, probably warm to hot.
Okay.
I'm still warm to hot.
Yeah. Depends. Yeah, it depends on your approach. Now,
everything in life, I think.
Yeah, totally.
If we could all just go to a pub and get a job, well, I mean, in 1984, I think everyone was doing that, but I don't know that that happens like that this much.
Yeah.
And now it's, have you double vaxxed and are you allowed to come in? So we've got a whole lot of other stuff to deal with as well.
Definitely. Now, finally, don't know if everyone watching knows, but dating app Bumble has a business section, Bumble Business. Sally, is swiping for a job hot, or is it just plain wrong?
It's just plain wrong. Just get it right now. Just don't even put it up on the chart. I can't even believe he said that. It's like
it's off the chart.
It's right off the chart, baby. It's in the pop plan.
Horrible.
No. But it might be funny if you saw a creative director on there and then you saw him at the pub.
And then you end up getting married.
So there could be a funny kind of like, oh, I saw him on Bumble Business, and that could be a great intro in a pub, and you could walk up and go, hey, you don't know me, but I saw you on Bumble Business, and I thought, oh, should I, but look, here I am, and so you could make fun of it like that, but I would definitely. What if you swipe the wrong way? I don't even get that. Okay, no.
Oh, I don't know. All I know is I think dating apps are just getting a bit out of hand. Well, with that last move, it brings us to the end of the Hot Walls. Sally, again, thank you so much for playing along, giving us some really sage advice about reaching out there. Next up, we've just got a couple of quick fire questions about resumes and folios. So let's jump right in. Question 1 is, should we put our phone number on the folio website, resume, LinkedIn?
Yes. Yes. Now, if you're all worried that you're going to get 1,000 phone calls and people stalking you and stuff, it's just not going to happen. And if it does happen, get a burner phone to put on your resume so that you carry 2 phones around. But this world happens really quickly. And if I have a job come in, I go, my God, that Bella girl, she was fantastic. She'd be great for it. I'm going to look at her. Oh, I'm going to have to email her. I'm going to have to wait for her to email me back. Things happen too quickly. Absolutely have your phone number on it. Unlike you guys, people like me like to pick up the phone. When my husband introduced me to his family, he introduced me to Sally Brownbill, not Sally Brownbill, and it was a month before they realised that wasn't my surname. Can you believe that?
Oh my God.
I know. People of my age like to pick up the phone, and we're often the ones that are ringing you for jobs. So yes, hot, scorching. I know we're not playing that game anymore. Go.
Now, should I put a photo of myself on the resume?
Look, I get a lot of resumes, as you can imagine, and I think it's done in a really tasteful, well-designed way, yes, because we are about facial recognition. Now, in 6 months' time, I might forget Bella's surname, and she might just put it through and I might look at it, but if I saw a picture, I'm going to go, oh my God, I remember that girl. So yeah, I think if it's done in a stylish manner, I like to see, I don't like them on business cards, they're a bit real estate, but yeah, I do like to see them on a resume. But it's not you don't have to do it, but I think it's great for facial. If you're getting out and about and you're networking, if somebody can look at your face, I think that works really well.
And now another one is, what about like bio cliches? So, talking about coffee, over bragging your achievements. What should we avoid to kind of not sound like everyone else?
Well, I think the question should be, what should you do so that you sound like you? Okay, so it's about being individual. It's about showing your personality and not worrying about what other people think. So I don't know that there's too many cliches other than that, an introduction can be really dull. So for me, that's a cliche of just only talking about your achievements and what you've studied and what your ATAR was, or what your capabilities on computers are. That's when it becomes, I don't know if cliche is the right word, but it becomes dull. So what I'm wanting to see in a CV and a resume is some personality. So tell a story about you. What makes you different to Alana? Even if you're both going for the same job, what is your point of difference? So humour can often be used, or that you grew up on a farm, or you're one of 10 children, or you're the youngest of 5, or you're the middle child, or things that can give me a little bit of an insight into who you are and your personality. That's I would flip that question about being more positive about what to put on it.
Great.
If I'm
That's
allowed
awesome
to.
advice. Yes, absolutely.
You know that analogy, don't tell me what I can't do, tell me what I can do. Okay?
Very true. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for those hot tips, Sally. Now, students, if you want more tips, please check out Sally's podcast, The Brownbill Effect, on Spotify, and you can find heaps more tips and advice from Sally there. Please have a think about your questions for Sally and the Pitch Night team, and pop them in the chat as soon as you think of them, because there is a bit of a chat delay and we want to have all your questions answered tonight. For now, let's listen to Ben as he chats to some graduates about their Pitch Night prep and experience. There's some great advice coming up here. Take it away, Ben.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the last episode of Ben on the Street. Oh. I know, it's been a very quick journey, but it's been an absolute fantastic one, and it's been a pleasure talking to all you young creatives. In this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about that transitioning period from becoming a graduate, being a student, to now working full time. I have Grace again here with me. Give it up for her. Always a pleasure having you on here. So we're just going to talk to you a little bit about Pitch Night, which a lot of, third years are very excited for. It's in October, and now very soon, as it is week 10. So what did you do to prepare for your Pitch Night?
So I remember I was quite nervous because I wasn't going to be an art director or a copywriter, so I didn't necessarily have a folio to sort of show off. But for me, it was all about making sure that I sort of had questions that I wanted to ask, and not just sitting there and not knowing what to say. And it was like, okay, well, I know who I'm going to talk to. What do I want to learn more about? And so I think, and it's not something that you have to, research heaps into, but if you're lucky enough to go and talk to someone that you're really interested in, and I think there's always a great opportunity for lots of interesting people in that room to just have questions, be curious, understand a little bit of what they're all about, and maybe even some clients that you like, but really just going in and being curious. And there's often times where you'll end up on a table that you didn't plan for, and to just be like, okay, well, I want to know what you're about, I want to know this, and sort of starting to pull a great conversation. Yeah, absolutely.
Where you, Liam? Best part of Pitch Night?
I didn't do Pitch Night.
You didn't do Pitch Night? What did you just stayed at home and...
No, I did Profcom, so it was a bit different. Majored in advertising, so I didn't do it, but it looked great.
It looks great. Did you see photos and...
Yeah, I looked at some of the previous years' work and stuff. And
yeah, so what was your theme?
Our theme, I think, was like, it was like black and gold, red carpet, formal. And it was like a night to remember kind of vibe. So
okay, I think Under the Stars, that's the theme that they're doing this year.
I think ours was a bit like old Hollywood kind of style as well.
Lily, how did you prepare for Pitch Night?
I definitely think prepare is the main word there. Like, I think that the best thing you can do for Pitch Night is be prepared. Like, I had a few friends who were just like, F it, YOLO, I'm just gonna like freestyle it. Oops. They didn't love that. Like, it was very stressful for them. I think that like it's easy to say like, oh, I'll be fine, I've got my 3 pieces, I know what I'm gonna say, I'll just rock up and it'll be chill. I think the atmosphere when you get there, I think, is a lot more intense than you expect. It's a little bit more like it's a lot of really big people there. It's quite like a big energy in the room. So I think the best thing that you can do is practice exactly what you're going to say. So like practice in the mirror, write it down, know what you're going to say, because realistically at the 5 minutes that you have with those 3 people goes like that in 30 seconds. And you'll have barely gotten through anything that you wanted to get through. So if you have that speech memorized, you know exactly what you're going to go into, you sound like some kind of like telemarketer, and you sit down and you're like, hi, this is my name, and I want to show you this work. Like it's a bit like that, but you feel way better knowing that you have that shit sorted. And I just think that you should have like 1 to 3 pieces of work that you can be prepared to show. I primarily showed 1, and that wasn't really enough of my whole time. And I also had another one as well. Some people you might not vibe with very well. You sit down with them and you're like, ooh, like they're a tough customer, like they're not really giving me a lot here. So it's good to have like a couple pieces in case that you need to like bring out some extra material or something quite different to what you're showing them. So I think that knowing exactly what you're going to show, exactly what you're going to say will set you up really well. And also like be kind to yourself. People aren't going to give you like pats on the backs and round of applause and tell you how amazing you are. Some people might, but like they're quite tough critics, a lot of people. So I think that as long as you go in knowing that you do your best, put your best work forward, you feel good about yourself, and I think you should be really proud of that.
Was there any last minute advice for third year students that are watching this?
Have fun.
Have fun.
Have so much fun, because that's what it's really all about. And going into the world as a graduate, they are looking for what type of person you are and not necessarily what skill set you have. And they want someone who's interested and eager and excited and who actually wants to be where they are. And I think that's really important. And sometimes we get caught up in, oh, well, I really want to be this, I want to work in this role, or I have these skill sets, but you're really going to learn so much in the next 12 months of your chapter that and you also don't know where you're going to be. So it's like going in and showing off to as many people as you can, like your enthusiasm and your eagerness and excitement, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to find the spark.
I think that you can go in doing your best, but don't expect the world out of pitch night. I think I know very, very few people who were offered, no one gets offered a job on the spot at pitch night. It doesn't really work like that. But what it does give you is connections and networking. And I think that is so valuable, and you learn that from the people that you meet. So even if you don't get anything out of pitch night, do not, kick yourself for that or anything like that. It's just about the experience of getting in front of people, and the connections that you meet there, hang on to them, because that's how people get a job. That's how I got my job later on. That's how I got an internship. It's knowing that if you have a business card, make sure you have a business card, give them a business card, it's easy to contact them, and then message them afterwards on LinkedIn, so keep the relationship. At the end of the day, you just want to be a face in their mind, that if they're looking for someone, you pop up. And so you're like, all right, cool, I spoke to this really awesome person, they had some really cool work. So I think be confident in what you're doing, and also just be kind to yourself, because it's like not just like super straightforward to get a job.
Okay, what was the hardest part about going from a student to someone working full-time, being a graduate?
Probably cracking into the industry. It's quite hard, and it's a long and arduous process. It's very easy to think, oh, I've done this, I've done an internship here, I've finished my degree, like I'm very well qualified to get a job, but it's very tough out there. There's hundreds of other students doing exactly the same thing, if not more. So it's always going to be tough, and you sort of have to spend time developing your skills and your folio to get to that point. So being resilient and persevering is something you have to do, and you've got to be prepared to be knocked back and not be too sensitive, because a lot of your ideas early on, they're not going to be that great. You're still quite green, still quite junior, but that's all right. It's just about churning them out and keep improving and meeting as many people and having those conversations, because even if you pick up one piece of advice from a coffee that you have with someone in the industry, that builds up over time. So just keep cracking, keep pushing and hustling, and you'll get there.
Thank you both for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. Let's all give a round of applause. Now back to Alana and Bella at the studio.
Awesome interview. Thank you so much, Ben. And a big thanks to Grace and Liam for sharing all their tips. All right, we're up to that point in the night where we get our esteemed guests hot seat time.
Let's take some questions from the chat. The first question comes from Christine, and it's, do you think there are agencies or companies that would open their doors to art directors who didn't do award school?
Yeah, look, I think there are. I think you've got to give it a go. You know, you don't. Award school is fantastic, but so is the degree that you have just done. And I think every single job that you go for, you look at individually and you have a conversation with those people. Now, if you are in a particular area that you're wanting to look at and you go to 20 interviews and everyone says you should do award school, it's not so much about because they want to have an art director with award school, but they probably feel that you would benefit from more experience. So again, this industry is about gut instinct and about listening to people as well. So I don't think it's mandatory that you do that. It certainly helps in certain areas, but I think get out there, and you've studied a lot at the moment, and have a look around and have a chat to people and get the vibe and what they're thinking of your work before you rush into it. But if you do it and get in, it is fantastic, but it's not a prerequisite for everybody, no.
Amazing, yes. So I think we've got another one here from Christine as well. She wants to know about, she's heard that creatives should have a unique resume, but that also, you know, recruiters are looking for kind of more simple and classy ones. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, can you still hear me? Because your sound is going a bit strange, Belle.
Yeah, it's just Bella's internet.
Yeah, I can. Is that better?
All right, as long as it's me. So, well, that therein is the point of difference that I am, because I'm actually a creative that helps people get jobs. So I can't speak for recruiters, but I think you are always striving to be as individual as you can be. Your CV needs to be, absolutely, it needs to be very clear and concise, but it also has to have personality in it. And it can have an individual approach. You don't need to be cookie cutter about a CV. I think the more individual, the better. But what you want to be careful is that you don't over design it and have starbursts, and so it takes away from what the message is. Okay, so being stylish, well laid out, having really enough information in there about what skill sets you have, what interests you have, what jobs that you've had. As a recent graduate, you're going to have jobs that you're going to talk about in high school. Now, it's not about the fact that you stack shelves at Coles or a checkout person, or that you worked at a bar, or it's the fact that you've had a job, right? And you understand about responsibility and that you understand about time frame. Certainly 3-4 years down the track, you will take all of that stuff out. But at the moment, that's all we've got to go on. We've got to go on, were you a team member? Did you play team sport? I'm just interviewing a guy I've got going for a job at the moment who has just spent the first part of his bio talking about how he played professional football in New Zealand and why that makes him a good candidate to work as part of a team, because he really gets teamwork and he gets tight deadlines and he understands all of this stuff, and they were blown away by that. So don't try and be like everybody else. Be individual, but make sure it is stylish, well laid out. And I would have the same resume for everyone. And if you're working with people that don't like your resume, have a chat to them about it for that specific job. I will often change resumes for people, and a good person who is helping you get a job will. And sometimes they will change slightly each time. But don't be frightened of your resume, okay? Get us a lot of personal information and make it look make it look good, you know, and have a bit of fun with it.
Yeah. That's great advice there. I think we'll jump to the final question just because we are a bit time poor. So this question comes from Jacob. What are your tips for writing a cold email? Are there any good opening lines that you suggest?
Gosh, Jacob, that's a good have to think about that one. Look, again, I say this all the time. Every job, it's why I don't like cover letters, because cover letters are a bit cookie cutter. I think I like cover letters, but I don't like a cover letter that go, I've got a cover letter, I'll send it to you. Write it specifically for that particular job. Write it specifically for that particular email. So if you're doing a cold email, Jacob, make sure I would start off with, dear Sally, I've had the opportunity to look at I was introduced to your business by a friend of mine. I just love the website. And particularly the campaign about such and such stood out for me. I'm a recent graduate and I'm right into animation, and I would love an opportunity to show you some of the work I do, because I think it would be wonderful to work at a place like this. So, and then the next one might be, I'm a recent graduate from RMIT. Up until recently, I hadn't heard about your company, but now that I have, I think I must have been hiding under a rock. What you're doing is fantastic, and I'd love it, so look at everything individually. Don't sort of go, I've got my standard and I'm going to do it, because nothing is standard. You are not standard people. You are creative people going into an advertising world or a marketing world or wherever you choose that you're going to go, but it's going to be the world of communication. So I know when Bella was like, oh, you don't like cover letters, I shouldn't have started off like that. Cover letters are hugely important, but I don't like cookie cutter one that you're just going to replace with Sally, with John and Tony. I want it to be, you can have the essence in there that you know what you're going to put, but change the title and change that. So I hope that answers your question, Jacob. If you've got a great sense of humour, if you do stand-up comedy, that's for you, Connor. If you do, elite sport or even horse riding or dog walking, and that's appropriate to a client that they might have on their website, or that you met somebody in that area that talked to you about that. Bring it all up, it's about communicating. It's about not being dull, and it's about standing out from the crowd.
Really cool. I think that's really calmed me down. I've been taking lots of notes there. And with that last question, it does bring us to the end of our portion for tonight, as well as the end of Hungry Talks for 2021. Sally, we just want to say a massive thank you for joining us tonight and sharing your knowledge and incredible career with us. I've loved hearing, I think we've all loved hearing all your tips and advice, and we'll take all of it on board wherever we go. So thank you again, greatly appreciated.
My pleasure, guys. I've really loved working with you all. And, you all know where to find me at thebrownbilleffect.com. I'm here once we meet. I've got you for life. So, whether it's as a graduate role or whether it's in 10 years' time, I'll still be doing what I'm doing, I hope, God willing. But I wish you all the best. Everyone that I've met so far, you are all fabulous. RMIT students are so well respected in industry. And I have no doubt that you will all make your mark, and keep in touch with me. Let me know where you land, and if you're not landing, let me see if I can help you, okay? But don't be frightened of being yourself, okay? Be individual and stand out from the crowd and have fun. All right, so thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Take care, Sally.
Take care.
I'm leaving now, Alana.
Yes, now. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, there it is. Stick around, because up next, me and Ashley have some super important details about Pitch Night that you definitely do not want to miss.
But for now, we'd like to acknowledge what's been one wild and full-on semester for all of us. We want to say a big thank you to all the students and teachers who watched us every week, and a massive thank you to our incredible guests for sharing their knowledge and expertise with us. To the production team, thank you so much for all your hard work behind the scenes. We absolutely could not have pulled this off without you, and without your commitment. To a team of ad students who sometimes have some truly wild game show ideas. Finally, a big shout out to the rest of our incredible team, Perry, Ben and Christine, and our new additions, Gemma, Amy and Olivia, for all the work and content they've created and their dedication to Hungry Talks. It's been a pleasure working with you guys and the greatest experience. And to John for fully believing in us and knowing we could pull it off. And now for the final time, I'm Alana.
And I'm Bella, and this has been Hungry Talks 2021. Cheers, and have a groovy night.
Hi guys. Well, first off, I would like to say thank you to the Hungry Talks team. You guys done an amazing job. I'm so proud of you all. And I'm Mia from the Pitch Night team.
And I'm Ashley. Tonight we're going to go through some pretty important notices. And most excitedly, we're going to be having a mock pitch night for you guys to get a feel of what it's actually going to be like on the event. So the mock pitch night will be available for you guys for the first 72 hours. So you can visit the event anytime you'd like throughout this time frame. If you have any questions at all, please pop them down in the chat throughout this whole explanation, or email us at our pitch night email, hello@pitchnight.com.au.
All right, and on that note, here are some of the agencies that have confirmed to be attending Pitch Night. So we've got Taboo, the Big Red Communication Group, Hot Hat, Noisy Beats, Facebook, and there's many more. So get excited, guys. We also urge you guys to complete our survey that was sent by email and announced on Canvas with your preferences for agencies to be interviewed with. You're guaranteed to get at least one of your top 3 preferences and possibly more depending on agencies are looking for the role that you're identified as. We really want to utilize the time we have to maximize the opportunities everyone gets from the night.
So about Pitch Night itself, the event will officially start at 6:30 p.m. and end at 9:30 p.m. So that's 3 hours in total. Last year, agencies and students didn't leave the night until 11 p.m. So get your drinks and snacks ready. We also have themed cocktail recipes on our social media, so feel free to check that out. But without further ado, let's get into actually the explanation. So for the event, we'll have at least 4 interview sessions in total for each student, with the duration of the sessions 10 minutes each, with short breaks in between these sessions. More content and entertainment will be carried out during the in between breaks for sessions, and they will also be expo rooms where agencies can visit and view your very own creative clips, which is another great way to showcase snippets of your work or anything to entice agencies to check out your folio. From snippets of case studies to showcasing yourself as a person, it may also be a great opportunity for all our account managers out there to showcase their pitching skills or personality. This can be as long as you like, although we advise between 1 minute to 3 minutes maximum, just to keep attention spans. So you can do anything, be crazy and be unique. John sent out an announcement about this about 2 weeks ago, with the deadline being sent to the 8th of October, 11:59. So that's actually 2 days from now. But if you haven't been able to put one together yet, don't worry. It can be as simple as scrolling down through your folio website, showing clips of your work, or just using case study clips from case studies that you've previously created.
All right, so now that we have a good understanding of the night's run sheet, we want to quickly go over some features on Hopin that we'll be using on Pitch Night.
Alright, so now that we have a good understanding of the night's run sheet, we want to quickly go over some features on Hopin that we'll be using on Pitch Night. When you go into Hopin, from the side of your screen, you'll see these options: reception, stage, sessions, networking, and expo. So when you guys enter the event, you'll be directed to the reception, which you can think of as the welcoming gate. The stage is like the main room of Hopin. This is where we will all get together at the start of the event and during the halftime entertainment segments, as well as the closing ceremonies. And the sessions tab is where you click to go when you're scheduled to be in one of your 4 allocated one-on-one interviews. And the networking tab is where you can play chat roulette and be randomly matched with anyone else who is also looking to chat. The Expo Room tab is where agencies and students can view students' work through your very own submitted clips and register their interest in connecting with you. You would also be able to set up your own scheduled meetings via the My Agenda tab on the right of your screen, which is right above your chat box. There will also be notification bars to notify you guys on upcoming schedules and announcements, so that when you're talking with the agencies, you won't get cut off so abruptly. In situations where you're experiencing technical difficulties, uncertainty on where to go or what to do, please go to the room called RMIT Help Desk for an assistant. There will also be a room called the Space Pod, where you can go when you're not matched with anyone during those interview sessions. Although you are free to roam Hopin during these times, check out the networking tab for randomly allocated chats and expo rooms for further entertainment. One of the reasons why you might not be matched with anyone during those interview sessions is because there might be an odd number and there just isn't enough slots for you to be filled in at that time. But we'll try our best to make this all evenly and everyone got a slots in the schedules.
Okay, so tonight's mock pitch night was going to officially start at 6:30 p.m, but we'll give you guys a bit of time if you have any questions at all to pop it in the chat. But if you haven't checked already, there will be a link in your student email with the invite for the mock pitch night. So it'll be like that for the real pitch night as well. But if you haven't already, take the time now to register for this mock pitch night. And we'll stay here for a couple more minutes to see if anyone has any more questions before we head on to Hop In. So, yeah, see you then.